discussion. That idea was first mooted as long ago as the 1840s. His name was mooted as a possible successor. Mute adjective, often discussed or argued about, but having no definite answer. It's a mute point whether building more roads reduce traffic congestion. Not important or not relevant, therefore not worth discussing. We do not have enough money to go, so it's all moot anyway. If a legal question is moot, it does not need to be dealt with because something has happened that solves the issue. The court decision became moot when the defendant was found dead. Imagined or invented as an example. So without any legal importance. Moot now a trial or discussion dealing with an imaginary legal case performed by students in exactly the same way as a real case as part of their legal training. A moot court adjective having no practical use or meaning because the claim of negligence was denied something and seeking an award for damage was moot of a matter being considered that has not been decided and can therefore still be discussed whether or not to make the school co-educational still a moot point and we'll be discussing it over the next few months. Examples of moot: when the notion of the conference was first mooted, the demand for central bank cooperation was a vague and ill-defined one. The opposite view is taken by those who press for rapid change to minimize the capacity for resistance to the muted new pattern. When reconciliation became a possibility, it too was muted through the movement. The chance to convert a proposal long mooted into reality was too precious to let slip. A conference is mooted, keeping public officials well supplied with club class tickets and limelight. The rebuilding of the cathedral, as was often the case, had been mooted some time before. The need for regulatory change had been mooted for some time. If insufficient moots are organized, try to get a law teacher or barrister to judge a private one for yourself and friends. While such proposals were being mooted, it's no wonder licensed dealers were still in demand. All the various approaches to statutory interpretation mooted above can, with different degrees of emphasis, be understood as being recorded the enactors' intentions. The success of compulsory dipping, mooted since the 1870s and finally introduced in 1895, depend on fencing to quarantine killing flocks. Two variables have been mooted as possible determinants of success in making plural reference. As moods fell into desuetude, the in's educative function also fell into abeyance. Proposals for projects in other sectors like agriculture, transport, and nuclear energy had been mooted, however, and debated on and off. The first mooted no principles but was a series of improvised measures, often local, that nowhere changed the fundamentals of the state.